You're listening to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon, presented by 92.9 Tom FM, an iHeart radio station.
Hello and welcome to episode 49 of Pop Culture Weekly. You guys are amazing. I'm Kyle McMahon, of course, and thank you for watching the videos. Thank you for listening to the show and spreading the word. It grows all the time, every week, every day, and it's all because of you guys. We also have a Reddit now. We have our own subreddit on Reddit. It's called Pop Culture Weekly, and there's literally like 20 stories a day of what's going on in pop culture. So that's like up to the minute. So if you are a Redditor, go on over and subscribe to the subreddit Pop Culture Weekly. And of course, we're on social. You already know that. Interact with us. Our socials are growing all the time, so more and more of you are joining the conversation on social. All right, so for episode 49 of Pop Culture Weekly, I talk with country star Cassadee Pope. So Cassadee won The Voice and has not looked back since. She'd started in a band called Hey Monday, and then, kind of on a whim, did The Voice, thinking, it may last a couple episodes, and ended up winning. Ended up releasing a big country album and had a #1 hit with Chris Young, and now is releasing her new album. It's her third album called Rise and Shine. It's an acoustic album because of everything that's going on right now. Kind of put a dent in her studio plans, and she said it also reflects kind of where she is right now. So, and where the world is, So I loved talking to her. She really is a delight. Without further ado, here's my interview with Cassadee Pope. So, I am here with Cassadee Pope. We're going to be talking about her career and her upcoming album, Rise and Shine. Thank you for speaking with me.
Thank you for having me, Kyle. Appreciate it.
Of course. So, first of all, let's go back a little bit. You had a band that you worked with, and then you went on to audition for The Voice, which ended up turning out pretty well for you. Tell me about that.
That was the craziest experience of my life. I had just left my band at that point, Hey Monday, and I moved to LA. It was a really brutal year. I was broke. I was just grasping at everything for it to work out. And eventually I got a call from my old manager asking if I would be interested in going in for a scheduled audition, because The Voice does that sometimes. And they had me come in, enjoyed what I did, and next thing I know, I'm like through to the final round, and I just really didn't think I'd even get that far, to be honest. I was like, I want to get on and do a few rounds and maybe get some exposure and hopefully get a record deal out of it. I had no idea that I'd make it that far, let alone win. So it was really cool.
And then what was the whirlwind like for you after winning?
It was crazy. I knew I wanted to do country music, so I came straight here to Nashville, which is my home base now. And I got right in the studio. I started writing with everybody. I was in the craziest rooms with some of the biggest writers, and I was also getting sent outside songs from some of the best writers in town, and eventually got in the studio with an incredible producer, Dan Huff, and what was simultaneously starting to go on a country radio tour, which is, as you know, very grueling and very insane. And I was doing like 4 stations a day. Then on the weekends, I went on tour with Rascal Flatts and the band Perry. So it was, it's kind of a blur, to be honest. It was really cool, but a lot of the moments and the big monumental moments, they're sort of blurry to me, because I was just like fight or flight mode, and it was a really intense experience, but amazing.
And then you released an album to a lot of success, and of course you released a second album as well. You had a #1 hit. What was that? I mean, that's like pretty cool to go from, I'm just going to try out for the show, I don't know what's going to happen, maybe I'll last a few episodes, to #1.
It was really bizarre because it was amazing. I had been in this band and we had been in the grind for 3 years, not that long, but I had gone from being in a band in a 15 passenger van with a bunch of boys and key boys to winning The Voice, and then coming out with my first record that debuted at #1 on Billboard. And I believe at the time it was the first female country artist to do that since Taylor Swift, like 6 years prior to my album. So it was a really surprising thing for me, and as a newbie in Nashville. And the #1 song with Chris Young, "Think of You," was a game changer for me. It got me a Grammy nomination. So now, for the rest of my life, I'm a Grammy nominee.
Exactly.
And yeah, so it was really amazing. I felt like I had a lot to prove, because I think when you come from those shows, sometimes people look at you like just like a cover singer, and what are you going to do next? So there was a lot of pressure there, but I was just really happy that I was accepted in this town and this community with such open arms. And I think that really translated to everything else, because this town's hard. And if people see through what you're doing, and if people don't believe in you, or people think that it's inauthentic, they won't champion you. So I got really lucky with a lot of champions in this town.
And I think actually, I think you did PBS. I think it was a Capitol 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we met there actually.
Oh yeah, that was one of my favorite things I've gotten to do. It was really insane.
Yeah, there's such a Capitol Concerts is such a incredible production company, and the people are just so awesome, and I just love what they do. And we're actually talking with them about what's going to happen for July 4th. So hopefully that, unfortunately, with everything going on, they're going to be doing it kind of virtually. People, sending in their performances and stuff. But what they do is awesome, and I loved what you did with Capitol Concerts. So.
Thank you.
Of course. So tell me a little bit, speaking of COVID, you have an album coming up, and it's acoustic, and we're going to get into that. But has that changed what what the trajectory of your original plan was?
Yeah, it has. It was really kind of a blessing in disguise for me, trying to think of it in a silver lining kind of way. I was really bummed. I was like, oh man, I was going to go in the studio in April and do a full band project and really go all in on it. And then, the COVID stuff happened, obviously, that threw us all. And I really had time to sit and think about it and listen to the songs and really reflect on, like, what do I want out of this next, full band project. And I just realized I didn't have the songs. All of a sudden, I was like, epiphany moment. I actually am glad that I didn't go in the studio, because I can do better than this, and not even better, but I want to go somewhere different. I want to go pop rock with a little country in it. Like that's the route I'm going to take next. And those songs weren't that. So, and then I just, in the meantime, was thinking of like, what's going to be the purpose of this for me? Obviously, there's been a lot of things that, with Black Lives Matter, and just in general, the conversation about the way everybody's handling this differently, the COVID-19 stuff. So that's been a very self-reflective thing for me as well during all of this. But I also was like, well, creatively, how can I maximize this time? And I just thought an acoustic record would just be the perfect thing for me, for my fans to get new music. And it's sort of reflective of what kind of time we're in. There's not a lot of distractions going on where, like, we can distract ourselves by going out and, filling our time with a ton of parties and plans. This is the time where we've really had to sit and think. And so I thought, the music can reflect that and be stripped back. So that's kind of why I landed on acoustic.
And so also for this record, you had a hand in writing every song and co-producing, correct?
Yeah, it was really fun. I really did that much different than I usually do. I just asked for the credit this time. But my producer slash guitarist, Todd Lombardo, who, yeah, he just nailed this sound because I wanted it to sound like a Dashboard confessional acoustic record with my voice on it. And he really nailed it. And it was just a really cool, just creatively open process. He did all of his guitars remotely from his studio and sending them back and forth, and then got in the studio together. You know, he had his mask on and I did my vocals, and it was just the two of us, which was it was a different recording experience than I've ever had before, but I'll never forget it.
And it seems like it's a more personal record for you in many ways. One, because of the times we're in currently, but also, you know, it seems like you went in, and I'm not saying you didn't previously, but it seems like you went in with a strict vision of, this is what I want it to reflect, this is what I want it to say, this is how I want it to sound. I mean, I love Dashboard, and a Dashboard, you know, saying I want to do a Dashboard confessional record with my voice is like super specific and a vision, you know?
Right. Yeah, I think I also wanted this album to act as a bridge into the next project that I'll hopefully be able to get to do at the end of the year, because I am going more of that pop rock route, and which I'm really excited about. And I thought these songs specifically were perfect for that. I know lyrically a lot of these songs are really more of a reflection of where I've been. There's a couple of songs that are pretty relevant to how I'm feeling in my life right now, and, you know, being happy and in a good relationship and stuff like that. But some of them are actually, you know, about a time in my life that wasn't great, and it was really hard, and I was going through a lot of transitions, and personally and professionally. So it's really interesting to listen to this record in a time where we're all sort of forced to sit and think, and like kind of get a snapshot again into what I've been through. And yeah, and I hope these songs there's a lot of emotion in them, and I hope they're going to help aid people into, you know, letting out whatever they need to let out. You know, I think a lot of us are feeling a lot of things right now, and maybe some people are just not able to get in deep and get in touch with that stuff. And I hope some of these songs will help bring it out. And I think letting it out is just really important. So I hope I can do that. And then stitch them back up with a happy love song, you know.
And who inspired you as you were writing and recording? Who inspired you? What art, whether it be music or whatever?
Mm-hmm. I've always been a really, really big fan of Michelle Branch.
I love her.
I've always loved the way that her lyrics are conversational, but there's so much depth there. And then, you know, she slaps an amazing melody on top of it. I'm a sucker for a catchy melody. And I've always been a fan of hers. I've always loved John Shanks' productions. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, thinking about the route I want to take with even sonically the sound, that was definitely an influence for me while writing.
It's awesome. And I feel like Sheryl Crow is kind of in that similar vein. I feel like she's like a sister to Michelle Branch. I think they even worked on a couple of things, but
yeah.
But
absolutely.
I love that, and I love that that's the direction you're going, and for this record, and because it's how you're feeling right now.
Yeah, and I love organic sounds. Like I love pop and everything. Like, you know, that stuff is amazing too. And there's a lot of my old stuff that's got a lot of stuff in it. You know, a lot of synth and strings and sample loops and all that stuff, and that stuff's great. But I'm just in a time in my life where I want to the nostalgia is real, and I want to get in touch with it, and I want to, you know, kind of get back to my roots are country, but get to the area right above the root, which is pop rock. So it's kind of like coming home, it feels good.
And what are your plans? I mean, obviously, it's a little hard to tour for this record right now. What are you thinking in regards to doing shows and stuff?
Well, when I'm releasing these songs like two at a time, every couple of weeks, and so tonight I'm gonna do a full release party for "Let Me Go" and "Built This House," the first two tracks, and then I'm doing that again for the next two, and then again for the release of the album. So I'll be doing those shows, which are ticketed, and there's like a VIP thing. You can get a virtual meet and greet afterwards. So it's the closest thing I can get, but yeah, I don't have any shows, that are going to happen this year,
Mhm.
which I feel really lucky to be able to do that because I don't feel comfortable doing that anyways. So and putting fans into that situation, I wouldn't like to do that anyway. So yeah, everything's going to be virtual. I'll be doing this kind of thing for probably the rest of the year, which is so bizarre.
I'm sure. And then the next project, I mean, the good thing about that is when you tour for the next project, you'll have 2 albums worth of material to do.
I
New
know.
material.
Yeah, it's so true. Every time I'm putting a show set list together, I'm like, man, I wish I had more acoustic songs that I can just do during a acoustic section of the set. So now I'll have 8 to choose from, which is great.
Awesome. Cassadee, thank you so much. You are a delight, and the new album is going to be awesome. I love the 2 new songs, and I'm sure I'm going to love the next 2 and then the full album the week after that. So thank you for talking with me. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Isn't she awesome? She's just such a sweet girl, so cool, down to earth, and creative, and she's an amazing artist. So I loved talking with Cassadee Pope. So that's it for this week's episode of Pop Culture Weekly. As you know, normally we have a whole show, but COVID has put some damper on the plans, and we haven't been doing co-hosts and all the normal segments we normally do. It's been interview-only specials. But next week is episode 50 of Pop Culture Weekly. 50 episodes. 50 episodes. I can't believe it. So anyway, we're going to have potentially something special for you. Maybe we'll have some co-hosts and look at some of the best moments and maybe even a new interview or two. So stay tuned for that. Hit me up. I'm at KMac Music on Twitter and Instagram, at Real Kyle McMahon on Facebook, Official Kyle McMahon on YouTube. Follow Pop Culture Weekly. Hit me up. Let's talk movies and music and TV. Fight me on, the disagreements we have on where we stand with Marvel or DC or whatever else you want to talk about. Let's do it. Let's go. All right. So, see you next week, guys.
You're listening to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon, presented by 92.9 Tom FM, an iHeart radio station.
I cannot believe next week is episode 50. I mean, that's crazy.